I got nothing funny to say because I'm actually very exhausted. It's been almost 3 hours of reading. So let's just everyone on YouTube, you know what to do. I don't have to tell it. You know what to do. We're gonna read Doppelganger. Please. This scares me every time. It's gonna be another long one. It's gonna be another look at this. It's actually not that long. It's average. But I'm just, even with average, I'm like, please, I have mercy. Euclid. Inactive SCP-1536 instances should be contained in standard locked storage boxes in Sector 37 of Site 19. Instances of SCP-1536 may only be activated for testing purposes. Active state instances of SCP-1536 may be stored in containment quarters appropriate to the current form. Once testing is completed, instances of SCP-1536 must be returned to inactive state for long-term storage. As of 2000 Incident Y, all testing of SCP-1536 is to be suspended until further notice, and no new objects shall be exposed to SCP-1536. Identifying and containing additional instances, especially any which may present in or around Foundation facilities, is considered an Epsilon level priority. Description: inactive SCP-1536 instances are brown, ovoid, 35 centimeters in length and 15 centimeters in diameter, composed of a number. I can't even get the editing done today now I think about it. Of a number of previously unknown compounds analogs to common terrestrial biochemicals. The outer skin of SCP-1536 resembles chitin, and the interior is a homogeneous colloid similar to intracellular fluid. Two appendages similar in appearance to arthropod legs emerge from either side of the main body. When in inactive state, instances of SCP-1536 will slowly drag themselves around the containment areas and have on occasion been observed making scraping motions against containment walls. These have not left any marks whatsoever on the steel or standard containers. In the active state, instances of SCP-1536 do not appear to require any form of sustenance. I need sustenance right now. An instance of SCP-1536 will enter its active state when presented with direct line of sight of a sufficiently complex moving object. Through unknown means, the instance of SCP-1536 will entirely alter its composition and appearance to exactly match the object with which it has been presented. A process which has always takes just over 3 seconds. Is it a mimic? It's a mimic then. The criteria of SCP-1536 uses to judge whether to replicate an object is not known. Moving pictures on a screen have not been replicated, but moving inanimate objects such as wind-up toys have been replicated. SCP-1536 will always replicate members of the animal kingdom. If presented with multiple replicable objects, SCP-1536 will replicate the object with closest proximity to its geometric center. It's just Ditto from Pokemon. After replicating, SCP-1536 will be unable to replicate another object for a period of time just over 16 minutes in length. Once this recovery phase is over, if presented with a new replicable object, an instance of SCP-1536 will immediately change to replicate the new object. Oh my god. SCP-1536 instances in an active state have the same life requirements, if applicable, as the original object, but may, if sustained, remain in the state indefinitely. Once an SCP-1536 instance has replicated an object, it is identical in every measurable aspect of the original. This includes DNA, skin markings such as code, patterns and fingerprints, and memories and personality. See interview logs for information on and experiences of human subjects. Active SCP-1536 instances will react precisely as the object which they have replicated to all stimuli and will suffer damage or wounding as normal. However, if it is completely incapacitated or killed if an animal has been replicated, an instance of SCP-1536 will return to its inactive state and be unable to replicate again for approximately 16 minutes. What is this? Is this supposed to be Euclid? I guess it's because it couldn't replicate something dangerous or fast. The process of returning to an active state lasts exactly the same time as transitioning to active state. Damage dealt to the replicated form may still be present in the inactive state, but will gradually disappear during the recovery phase. Once the recovery phase is over, the instance of SCP-1536 will then replicate as normal if exposed to a new object. Addendum A, select the test logs. Test number 20. Male Rattus Norvegicus, 6 weeks old, determined the ability of SCP-1536 to recover from damage. -1 replicates the subject. Left foreleg of -1 is removed, and -1 is terminated by incineration. Okay. Inactive state of -1 is observed to be heavily charred and missing one of its appendages. Missing limb grows and burn damage heals over the course of the recovery phase. Notably, removed limb does not revert and decay as expected for rodent tissue. Okay, gotcha. Was a bit confused at first, but now I get it. Test number 34. Brand tore in the shape of a duck, powered by clockwork. Determine the extent to which SCP-1536 can replicate mechanical objects. -1 is presented with immobile toy and does not replicate. Toy is removed. Wound up, and presented to -1 in motion. -1 replicates the toy and moves in an identical fashion along the same vectors. Test number 52, D90124. Determine the effect of SCP-1536 on humans. -1 replicates the subject, including clothing. For more details, see interview log 52. Is this interview log 52? It is. Test number 75, D90124. Subject of test 52. Days after initial exposure, determine the long-term effect of exposure to SCP-1536. Redacted clearance 4/1536. See addendum 1536-C. Interviewed D90124. Subjects of test 52. Researcher Grant. Good morning, D90124. Please describe exactly what happened during test 52. Jesus Christ, that was fucking horrific. Just, how do you even have shit like that? Anyway, so I'm taking out of my cell. It's testing time again. Tall guard comes to get me. Asian or something. He hates me. Took me a couple of weeks ago to have this weird shit injected that turned my piss purple. Please tell me what happened during the test, D90124. Right, yeah, sorry. You don't give a shit about what I think about the guards, do you? So, I'm putting this airlock and they shut the door behind me. The other door opens and I get a brief look at this thing on the floor. Looks like a rugby ball of all things, and then it starts growing real quick. I'm like, oh Jesus, what have they got for me now? And then it goes like arms and legs and a head, and it got mouth and it's screaming so loudly Then it falls forward, and like 3 seconds later, it's a man on the floor on its hands and knees. What happened then? Well, then it looked up, and it looks like me. Like almost exactly like me, but not quite, just a tiny bit off. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? And just can't say anything or even more. And suddenly it runs towards me. I dive the fuck out of the way and it starts banging on the door shouting, let me out. That fucking thing jumped me. I'm the real... And then, Jesus, I actually nearly shit myself here. The door opens and the thing goes through it. I'm like, fuck me, they're going to let that out and I'll be locked in here. But then the door opens again and you come through the door. What did you do with that thing? I'm afraid I cannot tell you that. Can you tell me anything more about the replication process? Did you feel anything whilst it occurred? Apart from like terrified, it was weird. It felt like kind of like it took something from me, you know? Not anything like literally from me. It didn't touch me, but shit, man. Do you still feel like this? It's like something's missing. I don't know what, like a spark or something. It's fun. It's almost like what? It's like it's more real than I am. Post-testing psychoanalysis shows that D90124 is suffering from sudden onset major depressive disorder, a phenomenon which has occurred in less than 5% of other test subjects. It's believed that it is not a direct result of SCP-1536 anomalous effect, but rather psychological response to the trauma. I mean, yeah, come on. You see something in front of you become you. That is not something that you can just easily accept, especially if it goes out screaming, "I'm the real him. I'm the real me." That shit can be scary. D90124 is placed into solitary confinement to study the long-term effects of SCP-1536 exposure, if any. See Test 75. More interviews. Oh god, I just want to be done. -1 immediately after Test 52, Agent Rajesh. But that's not the same. Wait. After Test what? Oh, that's this one. Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha. Oh yeah, because that's the okay, that's the declassified copy. I understand now. Tell me, what just happened? How the fuck do I know what happened? Answer the question, or I'm authorized to terminate you. Jesus, always hated me, didn't you? Right, fuck, okay, so you showed me into the cell, right? And there's this real fucking rugby ball. Oh, so it has its memories too. It has his memory. Real fucking rugby ball thing on the floor. Next thing I know, it feels like my whole fucking body is like on fire, like the worst pain I ever felt. So I sort of fall to my hands and knees. And just like that, the pain's gone. And I look up, and there's this fucking thing that looks just like me standing over me. Well, not exactly like me. It just looks slightly off, you know? Slightly wrong. Christ, my first thought is, oh shit, they're gonna think that's me. So I run over to the door and start banging on it, like, let me out. The fucking things jumped me. I'm the real... I tell you, I was fucking glad the door opened. I was even pleased to see you, man. I was petrified you were gonna leave me in there. What are you gonna do with that thing now it looks like me? I don't need to tell you that. Describe the transformation process in more detail. I already did. It fucking hurt. What do you want me to say? What's with all of this shit anyway? That one indicates a sheet of reinforced glass separating it from the interviewing agent and the cuff securing it to its chair. It is necessary for the safety of the facility. No, it fucking isn't. The safety of your fucking facility never depended on all this before. Hell, I'm probably safer than your facility. I'm not the one with shit like this, with shit like cloning rugby ball locked up inside me. You will be terminated if you refuse to cooperate. This is standard procedure. Standard? What do you think I'm going to do? You showed the skip to me, not... Holy fuck. You think I'm the skip, don't you? It's tricked you. I'm fucking real. I am. D90124. My mother name is... NY... number... I went to school at... Redacted. 2 weeks ago, you injected me with SB fucking... and pissed purple. I'm not... At this point, Dash1 began to enter its active state and replicate Agent Rajesh. The agent was able to terminate Dash1 by triggering the dangerous interviewee chamber failsafe, successfully returning to its inactive state. Oh my god. I leaned back and my phone tripod, like, because I completely forgot I put it there. Because I leaned back and it looked like something just popped out of the corner. Because like, from this position, it's facing a white wall. But then when I move like this, it like moves to the side, right? So for a moment, I legitimately thought something jumped of the corner of the hall. So yeah. Instant Y. 75. Test number 75. Subject involved D90124, subject of test 52. Months after initial exposure, determined the long-term effect of exposure to SCP-1536. D90124 developed sudden onset major depressive disorder immediately following the event of test 52. This was hypothesized to be due to psychological trauma and not SCP-1536 effect. Psychotherapy delivered via video communication during solitary confinement proved moderately effective. After a period of days in solitary confinement with no display of any anomalous effects, D90124 was removed from confinement and a comprehensive series of tests were performed, all of which corroborated the absence of anomalous effect. D90124 was administered Class C amnestics, which were incidentally effective in treating the major depressive disorder and returned to normal rotation. 4 days later, during work with SCP, D90124 sustained severe injuries and later expired in medical wing. Following this, D90124 began transitioning into a new instance of SCP-1526. New instance is designated -2 and contained separately to -1. Agent Rashid also quarantined and under observation. Shit, so anything it cloned is also becomes part of it, part of the instances. That's a problem. That's a big problem. I do like the idea that the doppelganger has the memories. Of course it does. It becomes you basically, right? So it has your memories, but also I like that because like the doppelganger's face is a little bit off, but it will look at you and also think the same thing. That's clever.